I swear, the only thing I can think about since I saw The Hunger Games is Lucy Gray's rainbow dress. So today, we are taking it on and we're making it. It's good, not great. It looks so good. No, stop. Stop. But first, hi, my name is Mackenzie and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I take you behind the scenes of my latest costume making / cosplay hyperfixation projects. Today's video is focusing on Lucy Gray Baird's rainbow dress from Hunger Games, a ballad of songbirds and snakes. Is that correct? So let's get started. Time to dye the fabric, and these are the tributes. Excuse me, you are askew. We are back in the kitchen, and this time I'm gonna do everything that I just did, but better. Oh, what do I mean by do it right this time? I actually dyed all of this fabric once on nude fabric and found out that when you put colors on nude fabric, it doesn't turn out like a little bit dirty looking. It's totally messed up. I ordered this on Amazon when I was dyeing that fabric because it was just, the nude was not coming out, and I have so much of this. So I have to cut out my 6-inch strips. And then also today I am dyeing this white fabric. What's this called? It has a name. Something dot. Semi dot? No. Swiss dot. I have had a suspicion ever since I saw the movie that the shirt fabric was actually like a very, very, very light lilac or lavender. It's kind of tricky because it looks white in some lighting. So I just want to like little splash, just a splash of purple. So for the components that need to be dyed, we need 9 distinct colors for the skirt ruffles, and then we need a purple Swiss dot shirt fabric and 2 different colors of purple for the laces that will lace the shoulder area of the corset, and a yellow lace to lace up the back. This process is long, and to get the colors right, it took me a lot of different tries, so I did end up wasting a lot of fabric that I'll try to use for another project so it's not just totally useless. And after that, the colors came out actually so stunning, but I don't even want to tell you this. I had to dye these for a 3rd time because it turns out that 5 yards was just not enough for each of these strips, so I had to double that and try again, but eventually we got the right colors down and we can proceed from here. With the nightmare process of dyeing fabric out of the way, I headed to Joann's to figure out what the heck I'm going to use for the bodice. It's leather in real life, my guess is, and I looked at a couple different options. I almost ordered this marine vinyl online, and always go look in person if you can because it's way more tan. This is the one I ended up going with, which is almost ivory, and I'm gonna paint it anyways, but it was on a really long stick and hard to maneuver around. And last, we have our fabrics we're going to be using for the skirt, which is 3 layers. This is for the mid layer. It's a little sparkly. Here's a trim for the underskirt bottom layer, which is just going to be a white silkish material. And then this is our top most important layer. It's a mesh with dots on it, and it's very specifically like a bone ivory color, which was very hard to find. I ended up getting a bunch of samples from Joann's, but went with this one from Mood. Alright, so we have our fabrics figured out. Now let's actually make something and start with the most exciting piece, the bodice. So I already started messing around with the draping, but this is the pattern that I'm using and modifying for this. It's just 3 pieces. It's from Etsy. I'll put the link in the description below. I do have concerns about how this is going to lay because the leather pieces don't have any creases or seams at all in them. But my mannequin is really wanting me to put a dart in the side for the boob area. However, I think I'm just going to ignore that. Smush it flat. So that's the plan. This is the fabric I'm going to use for under the faux leather of the bodice. This is left over from my Sarah Sanderson cosplay, and I have a lot of it. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought this, but we should use it because that's thrifty of me. I think that neckline looks fine. 18th century corset, but what year? This top is actually not a corset. It's technically a stay, which is like the 18th century version of a corset. So I want it to be extra strong. I'm going to put boning channels in it, but I'm also going to be doing, instead of interfacing, I'm going to be using duck fabric, which is very thick. Same rules are going to apply for the duck fabric, which is acting as our intermediary instead of interfacing piece. So there's going to be 3 pieces total, and the back one has the strap attached to it, which will wrap around and tie on in the front. The marine vinyl situation is going to be a lot trickier, but we're keeping it simple for the under pieces. An annoying but necessary step is pressing everything really flat, so I'm pressing both pieces together and then I'm just putting pins around the edge to do a stay stitch because I'm putting boning in here, which is going to give the corset all of that like really crispy structure that I'm looking for, so everything needs to be perfectly aligned and no wonky bubbles happening. Here are the boning channels you can see, and I left the top unsewn so I can just stick all the boning right in. This is what the back looks like. It's just so stripy. After I drew in all those boning channels, I just took it over to my sewing machine and followed each of the lines and then started inserting my plastic boning that was going to act for my structure. With that figured out, the most scary and most daunting process was ahead of me, so that's figuring out what the heck the marine vinyl is supposed to do on top of this corset base that I've made. So I'm just using muslin fabric because it's relatively see-through, figuring out where I want all of these pieces to be, and the morale and the technique is really devolving here. I'm totally just hunched over like Gollum trying to get this figured out, and honestly it took me several days to get it right and a lot of retries, so I'm happy that I got extra vinyl to work with. After all that jigsaw puzzling, we get to paint now, so it's like a reward. I'm using Angelus acrylic leather paints, but I think if you were using the marine vinyl that I used, you could use any acrylic paint. I took a taupe paint as my base color and added in orange, yellow, and brown until I got that like dingy looking worn yellow color that she has, and then just painted all the front pieces, waited for them to dry, and then mixed up a slightly darker version of that same yellow color to sort of weather the edges. It's slightly more brown, and I'm using a sponge here to make it look like it's natural. There are small spaces in between each of the like leather components on the front of the corset, so I'm using a blanket trim in a purple satin, pinning that down where I want it and sewing it down before I go ahead and attach the vinyl. Okay, and stay with me here, we are almost on the final stretch. I'm now sewing down all of the vinyl pieces, and I'm using a walking foot on my sewing machine because this paint made this surface so sticky it wouldn't move anywhere without it. What's up, guys? I'm coming at you live from the sewing station right now, and this is the status. I already started sewing on the pleather. This one got a little wonky, and honestly it's so much harder than I anticipated it would be. I spent so long making sure that each of these pieces was the exact perfect shape for where the overlay is, and somehow it still came out wrong. So I had to like stretch the living daylights out of this piece to get it to fit, but it actually is nice. So luckily this faux leather is kind of stretchy, so I'm gonna have to do that on this side, but I'm just like biding my time until I have to unstitch that. I'm trying to do all of the annoying / hard parts before I get to the painting of the flowers because that's the part I'm looking forward to the most. So if I can get this stuff done, I'll feel like I've made much more progress and I can reward myself with flower painting. No, 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 stop. Stop. Sometimes the walking foot starts to go backwards when it gets stuck, so it's a science. And then sometimes it gets a mind of its own and it just keeps going. Couldn't tell you why. Here is the current status, all trimmed up, looking good. Kinda hard to tell here, but things are coming together for sure. For sure. Okay, and then we have just a few more tasks left on this beast of a bodice to create. All right, so we're taking that same trim that we used on the in-between spaces in between the marine vinyl, and I'm just carefully clipping it because I don't want to pin through the leather because that will leave holes. So I'm carefully pinning it to the edge and carefully sewing it down, right sides together, with about, what is that, like a ½ inch. And then so because I can't put a top stitch over that because I want that crispy edge, I have pinned it, tucked it, and I'm going to be hand stitching everything on the underside all the way around the corset. This day, what are we calling this thing? The bodice? And now for the actual last thing we have to do before we can paint, we're adding in grommets for the straps and to lace up the back. I'm actually a little bit shocked at how good this came out so far. I was extremely worried, but like, look, this is pretty straight. And these are pretty straight and even. I just hope that it fits well because it's finished and I didn't try it on. This is hard to do alone. Okay, is that, okay, we're getting somewhere. Looks pretty good. Let's paint it. Finally, the moment we have all been waiting for is the painting. So I'm not going to show you this whole process because this is sped up to like 10,000%. And somehow I speed painted this in like 6 hours deep into the night one night because I was just too hyper fixated and couldn't stop. And it was so fun to do. And I have a full length video, and by full length I mean a video that's sped up but without cuts of me painting it if you want to see that whole time lapse process. But this is just a flavor of what that was like. Let's discuss the shirt because so far the bodice is looking amazing. It looks so good. Now that that's painted, we're moving on to the peasant top. I was always a little suspicious that the shirt was purple because in this picture that Rachel posted, it looks very purple. And I think I'm ultimately gonna end up going with this one, which looks white pretty much on camera if it's spread out like this, but when you bunch it up together, it looks more purple. I don't know if that's reading on camera, but that's what it looks like in my eyes. Although this one is much more purple, and as a purple person, this is what I am inclined to go with. This is more accurate because it's a purple shirt that's masquerading as a white shirt in some lighting. So this feels more accurate to that. I want to stay true to the shirring method. So this is my sample piece that I made to sort of figure out the proportions for when I cut it out. This started as a 14-inch piece. That's what it should stretch to. And it went down to 9 inches. So I did a bunch of math. The method I will explain, but it's called shirring. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's shirring. It's just regular thread on the top with an elastic backing. Before I do this shirring method, I'm gonna hem it because it's gonna be very difficult to hem the edge once it is gathered like this. I'm going to use my new serger. I did just buy a serger for this project, but hear me out. I have been struggling without a serger for quite some time. I have absolutely no idea how to use this, so I'm gonna go on a little side quest right now and figure that out, and I will report back once it's working. Okay, here is what we have for the shirt. It's gonna look right, I just tried it on me. My plan is that I'm going to do the same sort of shirring gather stitch on the bottom, and then I'm going to adjust it to how I want it to be. So it's kind of like putting darts in. See how this is all angled here? And then I will cut the armpit from here, but this is gonna be pulled like this, and it's under the shirt, so it doesn't matter. I have some extra white, very stretchy spandex fabric that I'm gonna use for the bodysuit. So I'm just gonna use an existing bodysuit pattern I have and basically trace out the bottom half, and then we can Frankenstein these two together. Okay, so I've got this diaper situation that I made, just the bottom half of a bodysuit, and we're going to take this gathered portion and pin it all around the top of the bodysuit. And onto the sleeves, I did the same shirring method, but just like so many rows of it for the bottoms. And you can see that there's like an inch there at the bottom that has been hemmed with the rolled edge hem on my serger. And I am just hand embroidering the heck out of this in 3 different colors of embroidery thread. The news is, I am tired today. This is what the sleeve ended up looking like. It's okay. The second one definitely came out better than the first one. It's good, not great. Here are all of the extra elastic threads from the shirring process, cutting those off, sewing it together, and then just making sure that it fits on my arm and attaching that to the bodice. And then I'm gonna ruffle all of the skirt fabric because that's gonna take a long time and I just don't feel like moving today. So I'm gonna put on a movie and I'm just gonna start zipping away. All right, so something not that chill happened. Well, actually, several somethings. Many days and many moons have passed since I last worked on this project, and I was plugging along working on it at lightning speed. And then I went to New York City to see the Jonas Brothers, and I promptly got COVID for 2 weeks. Then it was Christmas, and then after Christmas, I was traveling and immediately got sick again for another week and a half, 2 weeks. So here we are in the middle of January. What's left is the skirt. What's also left is about this much motivation and momentum to keep going. One of the other not so chill things that happened was I tried to speed through making the skirt and was not really looking at reference pictures, and that's my own fault. That's a prison of my own making. That resulted in me making an entire skirt and then hating it because I made all of the ruffles too close together. I had to disassemble the entire thing. So now I am left with this pile and basically square one on skirt making. So without taking another month-and-a-half hiatus, let's make the skirts. All right, let's get locked in to make this skirt because what the heck is even happening at this point? I don't know. I am making 2 skirts for this situation. One of them is gonna be 2 layers and one of them is gonna be my underskirt. The top is what we're focusing on first. That is going to need a rolled hem on each of the fabrics. So one is like a shiny iridescent fabric and then one is this fabric that I'll show you now. It's very important to me that the little dot fleck things are vertically correct and they're not on horizontal long ways. So I'll do a close-up of what I mean. But that means that we have to do some weird shapes. Since this fabric was so hard to find, I had to just deal with the width that I was dealt. So I had to do 2 quarter pieces and sew them together to make 1 half circle skirt. And then one more prep step before we can go in and start assembling, and that's just ruffling all of the different 9 colors of like a power mesh. Technically, it was called like an athletic power mesh that I got on Amazon. And then very carefully and really looking closely at reference pictures, I started attaching each of the different colors starting from the bottom up and making sure to do a wide zigzag at the bottom so that as they get smaller towards the top, it's not like you can't see any bit of the under fabric. I know I discussed a second underskirt for this situation, but I don't remember actually filming it, so I just made a regular half circle skirt and added lace to the bottom. We go ahead and add in the zipper and the top skirt is done. Here's some close-up videos of the dress so you can see all of its detail. I really tried my hardest to make it as professional as possible, and I think that getting a serger and figuring out how to use that really upped my game. And I am just so happy with how the painting came out. I want to do more painting projects, but I get so fixated on specifically cosplay projects that are mostly sewing, so I'd like to do more painting on like canvases. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and what if you came to the end of the video and there was just more video? Here's a vlog. Hey guys, we are here at the Photoshoot destination and it's only 6 times rescheduled and 2.5 months overdue because everyone was having COVID and having snow and having rain and it just never worked out. So
no, it's been a long time waiting and our excitement is literally bubbling over.
I was like too nervous to get excited because I was like, no, it's gonna get rescheduled.
It's gonna get canceled.
And then Lisa texted me this morning and she goes, clear skies! Meanwhile, it was monsooning yesterday.
Seriously.
And I was like, actually, the location's gonna be just a river.
It's gonna be a giant puddle and we're gonna have to swim to every different location that we want to shoot. But it looks perfect.
It looks good!
All right, come with us. Lots of B-roll today.
Okay. Set this bad boy up. Such a nice day out. Oh my gosh, yeah. Wow, it's giving, it's really giving. Oh, wow. Good thing we waited for this next reschedule.
Good thing we waited 2.5 months.
All right, we'll do some with the, all right, which way do you hold it? This way. For those 3 guitar lessons I took for $500.
Moving to the next location. I wish this was on 0.5.
Oh, yeah, well, we can make it on 0.5.
Aha.
Aha!
Moving to the next location. I'm embarrassed of how big my tripod is.
There's no subtlety happening here.
Wait, where are we going?
Oh, this is so in the bright light, but let's see what it's like down here. Well, this wall's cool.
Yes, it is. Here's the location. We're gonna be a little unsteady.
Like by this ivy,
Yeah.
it's giving, it could be spring. Oh,
Where's the camera?
Filming B-roll as well. This is the Jack Sparrow location, it's the Sarah Sanderson location, it's the...
Got it. Wait. Oh look, and it even has, I know it's for a weight, but it can hold the bag.
They're coming out so crispy.
I know. Oh. That was so like out of the blue.
I thought it was just gonna be like... That was like a full man...
A belt.
This corset's too tight, it's making everything bubble up. Oops. Okay, and then back to scene.
I did get a picture of it. The way you were like laughing at it.
I was like, oh no, it's really coming.
I think it would be cool if the camera was a little bit below you, like you were looking.
Okay.
Kind of did the bow, but like
Yeah.
like that.
So I feel like... So we could do some normal...
Oh my gosh, filming section. You can't even see. I just do all the work.
She is... What are the jobs? The vibe master, the photographer, the videographer. The most important is the vibe master.
Vibe master always first.
There's literally birds.
They're gonna poop on us. So we always take a sleigh iPhone pic, and it's always like the best picture out of everything.
Yep. I feel like it's gonna look like this. Why are these so much better always?
It's
It's
always
so
amazing.
good. Alright, I think I can get
iPhone.
deeper into... This is not an ad.
Please sponsor
But stop.
Here, I'll move it so you can get that B-roll.
This is the good stuff. I went to 3 guitar lessons. Amazing. They're sleigh amazing.
They're sleigh amazing.
Sleigh amazing.
All right, everyone hates us who's been walking on this bridge over here. They've been watching us. We did so many gwiddies on the Swits.
Gwiddying. Wait, should we go on a line?
Yes.
Wait, we should film it vertical and just pass by. I don't know if I was doing low enough. All I was doing was like running.
Okay. Me and Lucy Gray.
2 besties.
And Gray.
And gwiddy away.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh. All right, let me edit it.
I'm gwiddying.
What are we gwiddying on the Sweats? 3, 2, 1, go.
That's actually good.
Yes,
That's actually good.
We did it.